What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I have something a little bit different for you guys. I shot a wedding on Thursday just gone, so it's Sunday here now in New Zealand. We had a really great wedding with my friends Matt and Sarah, and I had another really great friend of mine, Amber, come along and second shoot it for me. She is a really experienced photographer, just a master when it comes to using flash, off-camera flash and lighting in the different situations. She actually has a workshop coming up next month. I just thought I would tell you guys that if you're here in New Zealand, that's going to be a really great thing. So I'll put a couple of links in the description to her Instagram, the workshop, and everything else you're going to need is going to be in the description. Now, before we get into this video, I just wanted to let you guys know, after switching to the A7R4s, I have two of these A7R3, A9, A7III battery grips. I never really use them with the A7R3s anyway, and I just really can't be bothered selling them, so I'm going to give them away to you guys to say thanks. So like I said, comment below and I'll use a generator to randomly pick out two people to send a Sony A7R3, A7III, A9 Mark I grip to you guys. It can be anywhere in the world, no issues at all. Let's get on with the video. So like I said, she came along and she is on the Canon EOS R5s where I'm on the Sony A7R4s. And I wanted to just compare the files after editing. We're going to do a blind photo test so you guys can sort of guess which one is which. And then we'll talk a little bit about how the camera performed and just some differences in terms of editing and how close the files were afterwards. So with that said, before we jump in, I just wanted to explain how the images were edited so you guys understand everything. They were all just edited with the same preset in my CTM preset pack. They were all exported at the same resolution, so 6,000 pixels on the long edge. They do have grain added to them, but I am also going to put a link to a couple of raw files from each camera in the description if you want to download them for yourself and play with them and just see how you like it. So definitely recommend doing that. Download those files and just check them out for yourself. That's the best way to compare the photos. But I know a lot of people are checking out the A7R4 versus the Canon EOS R5 if maybe you're thinking about upgrading or switching from an older system. So let's stop talking about it. I'm going to play the slideshow now and you'll be able to see which photo was from which camera towards the end of the photos, and yeah, we'll go from there. So anyway, let's jump straight into it. Right, that's it guys, so I hope that was informative. I don't know if you guys could pick which images were which. To me, the only real differences in terms of editing was the white balance and tint is quite different between each camera, so you can't really go ahead and sync a whole scene from a wedding, but with both cameras you have to kind of sync them separately, but that's not too much of a drama. Usually when I'm editing my photos, I go through, I apply my preset to every single photo in the group, and then I'll edit all of my photos and then go back and edit my second shooter file photos, just so I'm getting a little bit more consistency, and I find that works better for me anyway, so not a really big deal. But I do find the Canon EOS R5 files are definitely closer to my Sony's than the 5D3 and 5D Mark IV images were, so that's really good for me anyway. So honestly, other than white balance and tint, I find images from both cameras really fantastic. I do find that the Sony has a little bit more dynamic range. You can pull back the highlights a little bit more than you can on the Canon. I think most people are aware that's just kind of a default these days. Canon have definitely gotten a lot better. So I think the R5 and R6 has more dynamic range than like the 5D4 and the 5D3 obviously had. But yeah, it's definitely a step up, just a slight step below the Sony A7R4s. So if anything, what this test is telling me, in the hands of a professional, someone that has shot hundreds and hundreds of weddings, it's really not going to matter that much. If you properly expose the images, you know, you're going to be fine with each camera. So to me, it really comes down to, you know, I am shooting Sony and I definitely prefer it, but it really comes down to how it feels in the hand, how it kind of motivates you to take photos. I think that's more important than the actual camera itself. People really have to forget about brand loyalty. It's just ridiculous, and it's not going to do you any favors anyway. So the other differences I found with the two cameras in terms of focusing, I tried out the R5, not a really hardcore test, but I did give it a go around the reception just to see how it performed, and it was actually pretty good. I don't think it was better than the A7R4. I think they're about on par in terms of low light focusing. But there was a couple of differences I noticed, like the joystick on the back of my Sony moves the focus point around fine, but the one on the Canon is definitely a little bit smoother, so that was really nice to see. The Canon EOS R5 obviously has the flip out screen, which I'm really not a fan of. I definitely prefer the tilt out screen like this because I find myself shooting a lot down here, hip shooting, and just having the screen folded out is just kind of a hassle. I really don't enjoy that. But again, that's going to come down to the individual preference as well. We did notice in terms of battery life, both cameras were pretty much the same. So we both changed out our battery in our main camera about the same time. It was sort of just getting into maybe an hour into the reception. So all day up to about an hour into the reception, and we had to change the camera battery in one of them, and the other one still had a bunch of charge on it, so it was fine. So I think the battery is a lot better than it's rated for on the Canon as well. And obviously the battery life on the Sony A7R4 is fantastic. So in terms of that, really not much issue at all. You get the idea. Basically, both cameras are really fantastic. They both edit really similarly. The Sony has a little bit more dynamic range. I still definitely prefer editing my Sony files, but maybe that's because I've been using Sony for like 4 years now. I think, you know, switching from any camera system is going to be a little bit of a change, a little bit of a challenge maybe to figure out how to edit the files a little bit differently. But as I said, all these images were edited with the same preset, no tweaks, nothing like that. The only differences were exposure, white balance, and tint. So really not a big deal, honestly, guys. But download the raw files for yourself, check them out, see how you like them, and let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I really appreciate you guys following along. I want to get to 50,000 subscribers as fast as possible so I can start doing more YouTube content for you guys and start doing less weddings. I want to be a little bit more picky with the weddings I shoot and do more YouTube content as well. So I'm really excited about it. Thanks for following along, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.